Welcome back to the most thorough Fortnite trading card channel on the planet. If you are debating on getting into the hobby, but you just feel a tad bit lost when it comes to Fortnite, then you've come to the right place. I have been in the game since day one, and not only do I collect, I study every little detail about the collection. Today, we are going to address the most controversial topic in the Fortnite world: USA versus Italy. If you are a new or inspiring hobbyist, and you've looked at online sales and you've seen a card go for $40 and then another card that looks almost exactly like it go for $400, it has to leave you scratching your head like, what am I missing? So today we're going to get to the bottom of this. Just a teeny recap to make sure we're all on the same page. Fortnite Trading Cards released in the summertime of 2019, both USA and Italy. Panini is an Italian company, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that they also have an Italian manufacturer as well. Now with the trading card set, the computer graphics are exactly the same in both USA and Italy. Same file sources. But where the difference comes in is the printers, the color of the ink, the cutting techniques, the foiling process, and most importantly, the quality control. To better understand, I have scanned in quite a few of high-resolution images, so we can really see the difference. So first, let's take a look at the Series 1 Wukong. Now, it's pretty glaringly obvious there are some major differences. Probably the first thing that is noticed is the color difference. Now, these were both scanned with the same scanner, with the same settings, at the exact same time. The Italy print can be found on the left, and the USA print is on the right. Now, I personally think they are both beautiful in their own way, but clearly different. The first major difference we're going to discuss is the foil. Now, the USA on the right has a true crystalline effect. This is where the term crystal shard comes from. The Italian card on the left has a more repeating geometrical design. There are lines, squares, maybe some rectangles, and obviously some zigzags. It actually reminds me of like the old big red gum wrappers. Now, these two cards are exactly the same size in this instance. But another area that the USA and Italy cards differ is occasionally the Italy cards are trimmed to different heights. Now, it's typically only down to like a millimeter in difference, but some of the repercussions of this, some of the graders have actually returned people's cards that were sent in for grades thinking they have been trimmed, even though they're directly out of the manufacturer's box. Another controversial topic that comes up with Italy is whether or not the Italian manufacturer had a second print run. Now, it's not uncommon for multiple print runs within trading cards, and whether it was or it wasn't, if they were trying to be secretive, it definitely wasn't. But they do claim that it was not a second print run. If you notice the edges on the back of this Wukong on the left, the Italian version, many of the initial boxes that came from the Italian version had terrible cut falls on about 99% of the cards released. Not 100% sure what happened here, but likely just too dull of blades. Now, roughly 8 months into the release, a bunch of Italy boxes started showing up. Now, instead of being in the traditional plastic sealed heat shrink wrap, they were in what appeared to be saran wrap. Supposedly, this was just to ensure that the proper cards were inside, so they had to open up the seals and reseal them. Many people thought they were being tampered with, but some people actually pulled a Black Knight, so if that was the case, then they did a really bad job of stealing all the good cards. But the whole reason I even brought this up was because the crystal shards that came from these newer boxes, or recollected boxes, did not have nearly as many cut falls as the community was accustomed to seeing. But the fact is, whatever the true story is, it really doesn't matter at this point. What does matter is there are a lot of high quality Italian cards out there now. Whether or not this was a reprint or not, I personally think it was actually a positive for the hobby as a whole. It actually allowed new collectors to get involved because the prices were dropping, but it was relatively short-lived. Now let's look at a few more examples. Here we have the Red Knight. Italian card is on the left, USA is on the right. Now I did leave my sleeves on here because I wasn't risking damaging my Red Knight, so excuse the fuzz. Another very distinct difference in design, you can see the major quality difference when the black starts to get involved. The detail on the armpit is almost lost on the Italian version, where the USA version looks more realistic and a little less pixely. Now do keep in mind this is a 700 DPI scan. Also, if you look at the top right of the left card, the Italian foiling process really suffered along the edges. And it's not necessarily cut flaws either. The paint or the ink simply is just lost. Not 100% certain on the cause here, whether it's rubbing or just never made it on there to begin with, but this issue actually litters the first batch of the Italian collection. Now you can tell that these two cards are not perfectly aligned, but when I put these two cards on top of each other, the Italian card is actually just a hair smaller than the USA. Now as we look at the back of this card, it's pretty obvious all of the edges have some damage, almost in a full 360 around this card. Another major difference when you get into the high res scan, you can see these hexagonal shapes from the Italian card printers, but just know that to the naked eye, these are really impossible to see, but it is another difference in the process. Now let's look at Series 2. Can you guess which one is Italy? If you guess right, then you are correct. Again, in Series 2, the Italian version used repeating square patterns. But do notice the crystal shards have been replaced with the cracked ice pattern. It also resembles shattered glass. Once again, there's a big difference in color. The USA has a much deeper color palette. When it comes to collecting, people tend to not want to mix and match because there really is a difference. And when it comes to scarcity, USA is much more scarce, and we will talk about that in a few minutes. Next, let's look at crystal. Clear color difference again, but try not to judge the Italy so harshly because my scanner is so good that it picks up stuff that I can't even see in real life with the magnifying glass. Now, there is one negative about the Italy ice. On some of the cards, the ice is too distracting from the skin, from the character. You can see it with this scan by checking out the chest area on crystal. With the left side, the ice effect is negligible on the character. But on the Italy version, the cracked ice is very prominent. And when you move this around in light, it's very difficult to focus your eyes on the character. It's like someone shining a flashlight in your eye. Now this is a very critical detail, and not everyone would even think to care about something this small, but it is just a difference between the USA and Italy. So let me say this. The cutting in the Italian version of Series 2 was actually better than USA. It will actually be more difficult to find PSA 9s and 10s in Series 2 USA version. You would think this would just be a check in Italy's corner with their constant battle, but it turns out people love scarcity. In fact, Italy 9s and 10s in Season 1 are actually just as impressive as USA 9s and 10s in Series 2. Series 2 Italy didn't get away scotch-free though. A common problem in Italy Series 2 cracked ice is the top left corner. What seems to happen is some sort of indentation. I'm not exactly sure how this could happen, some sort of problem at the manufacturer, but I have seen this on many Italian cards, and this will equally take away from that gem mint opportunity. So regardless of which print, gem mint and mint cards will be very hard to come by. Now let's talk a little bit more about the scarcity. The biggest difference in Series 2 is when you buy an Italian mega box, it actually comes with 3 cracked ice, where the USA only comes with 2. This is why the Season 2 Italian boxes have been a little slower to take off. Me personally, anytime I see a Season 2 mega box for 50 bucks, I'm like, yes please. Sure, they're less scarce, but I mean, come on, 50 bucks? No way that lasts. These cards are very collectible and have a great future regardless of any of the major differences. There's just not enough cards for everyone in the end. Now with Series 1, the amount of cards that are potential gems or gem mints are so incredibly low. When you see a gem or gem mint card for sale, I wouldn't weigh so heavily on USA versus Italy. A gem is a gem. Will Italy be significantly less? Yes. Is there still profits to be made? Yes. So it's like being a used Acura seller versus being a Mercedes-Benz seller. Now, the differences don't stop at cracked ice. When you start looking into holos, USA is once again still a clear winner. Many Italian holos suffer from that lost paint or ink on the edges as well. Now, that quality control improved over time, so there are still some potential gem mint cards out there, but there's still going to be a color difference as well. It's still the same printers. USA just does a better job with their color richness. But other than that, they are pretty similar. There are times when I actually find Italy cards within my USA sets, and I didn't even realize until I saw the words printed in Italy. So I bet you're asking, how do I ensure I buy USA or Italy? Well, if you only see the front of the card, or the pictures are too poor to tell, you simply have to ask the buyer. Many sellers leave off that it is printed in Italy in hopes that you think it's a USA. If they only have a front picture, they most likely have an Italy card. For sealed product, USA boxes in both Series 1 and Series 2 have Panini stamped wrapping paper. If you do not see the words that says Panini in black ink smothering the box, it is Italian. Now, if you come across a metal tin, these will not be USA print. USA did not participate in any of the tin runs. Now, I'm sure there's something that I didn't think to cover, so if you have any questions, please comment below before you accidentally waste your money or pay too much for something that you just don't understand. If this helped you out, shoot me a like, consider subscribing. Until next time, I'm out.